Welcome back to the POAS Desk. In the last episode, we covered the role of translators. In this episode, we cover the routes that exist when remote notarization is not available, apostille and consular attestation. These are older and slower paths, but they remain necessary for some scenarios. Start with the principle. A document executed in one country is not automatically valid in another. For a foreign-issued document to have legal effect in the UAE, its authenticity has to be confirmed through a recognized verification chain. Apostille and consular attestation are the two main mechanisms. Apostille is the simpler route. It comes from the Hague Apostille Convention, an international agreement that simplifies document recognition between member countries. When a document is apostilled, a designated authority in the country of origin certifies the document's authenticity, and that certification is automatically recognized by all other convention member countries. The UAE joined the Apostille Convention in 2021, and apostille has become a major route for foreign documents being used in the UAE for many countries. So a POA from the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Australia, and many other convention countries can be apostilled and brought to the UAE without needing the full embassy chain. The apostille process typically involves the document is notarized in the country of origin. The document is submitted to the country's designated apostille authority. This is usually the Foreign Affairs Ministry, the Supreme Court, or a similar body. The authority verifies the notary's authority and applies the apostille certificate. The apostille's document is then brought to the UAE for translation to Arabic and registration with UAE authorities. The apostille route is faster than the full consular chair. It typically takes 1 to 3 weeks, depending on the country and the speed of their apostille authority. Consular attestation is the older, more complex route. It is required for documents from countries that are not members of the Apostille Convention, or for specific document types where apostille is not accepted. The consular attestation process typically involves the document is notarized in the country of origin. The document is attested by the Foreign Affairs Ministry of that country. The document is then attested by the UAE embassy or consulate in that country. The document is sent to the UAE. The document is then attested by the UAE Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The document is translated to Arabic by a UAE licensed translator. The translated document is registered with the relevant UAE notary. Each step has its own timeline. The total process can take 3 to 6 weeks or longer, depending on the country, the courier services, and the workload of each authority. Costs are also significant. The notarization in the country of origin, the foreign affairs attestation, the embassy attestation, the courier fees, the UAE MOFA attestation, and the translation and registration fees add up. Total costs from 3,000 United Arab Emirates dirhams to 6,000 United Arab Emirates dirhams or more are common, depending on the country. When you would use apostille rather than remote notarization. If the principal's country offers apostille and the receiving authority accepts apostille documents, apostille can be a good option, especially for non-property POAs. Some authorities prefer apostilled documents over remote notarization for specific reasons, and apostille is generally accepted. If the principal cannot complete a remote notarization session, perhaps due to identification issues or technical limitations, apostille via in-person notarization in the home country may be the alternative. When you would use consular attestation, if the principal's country is not a convention member, apostille is not available and consular attestation is the only route besides remote notarization. If the receiving UAE authority specifically requires consular attested documents, apostille may not be sufficient. Some specialize. Authorities have specific preferences. If the document type is one for which remote notarization is not authorized, most personal POAs work with remote notarization, but some specialized documents, particularly for litigation, may still require traditional attestation. A common mistake we see. Principals start the consular chain without checking whether apostille or remote notarization would have worked. The full chain is the default mental model for many people who have used POAs in the past, but it is no longer the only option. Always confirm the route options before starting. Another common mistake. Principals start the apostille process without confirming that the UAE accepts apostille for their specific document type and receiving authority. Most do, but a few exceptions exist. Confirm before starting. A third mistake. Principals do the foreign side process correctly, but stop before the UAE side steps. An apostilled document that has not been translated and registered in the UAE is not yet usable. The full chain extends into the UAE, even with apostille. At POAS, we recommend remote notarization as the default route when available. For situations where remote notarization is not the right fit, we coordinate the apostille or consular attestation process and ensure the UAE side steps, translation, registration with the relevant authority are handled properly. The fee structure for these routes is different because of the third-party costs involved, and we quote them transparently. In episode 29, we cover POE disputes and challenges, what happens when POE's validity is contested, and how disputes are resolved. I'm Patrick. Thanks for joining me at the POAS Desk.